would you believe that as I was turning around, this man was still cursing me? As I was driving down the hill away from this place, the man's voice followed me. He was still cursing me out. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Journey with Kiradi. Today I want to mix a story time with having a chat with you guys. So let me jump right in by first establishing the definition of what I am referring to when I'm talking about a person who I might consider to be ignorant. Now, in terms of the textbook or the dictionary definition of ignorant, it has to do with persons who are unaware of certain information. They just don't know. And it also has the element of acting foolishly, probably because persons don't have the information to correctly inform what their action should really be. Now, in addition to that, I want to add the Antiguan dimension to what we would call ignorant here. So in our little island, whenever we say somebody is ignorant, generally speaking, we're referring to somebody who has a hair trigger fuse. They have a very, very short temper and generally misbehave, behave badly, act foolishly, do things that are not necessarily warranted simply because they cannot control their anger. So when I am referring to somebody who is ignorant in this particular video, I'm referring to both somebody who might be unaware of information and also someone who allows their anger to get the best of them and so they behave badly or foolishly. So let's jump right in. The preschool that my son attends, what they have done for the last couple of years is that at the entrance of the gate where you drop off your kids and you let them go for their temper checks and whatnot, they have traffic cones at the roadside right where the entrance is. They've done this because what they have said is that normally persons would park in front of the establishment back to back to back to back without any space for persons to pass bringing in their children. So they have done this so that persons who are bringing in their kids would have space to walk. So it's about a car length that they put the traffic cone at, right at the entrance. Everywhere else is free to park. So as a rule follower, I generally don't park when I see where I see the traffic cones. I've seen people park right in front of them. I've seen people run them over. I've seen people just completely disregard them. But generally by nature, I'm a rule follower. So so here it was that this one day, this one fine day, I'm dropping off my son. And so I parked right where the traffic cone stopped. I just parked right behind it. And so there was this gap in front of the daycare as they want there to be. So I'm parked, I stop, and then I hear behind me a vehicle that apparently pulled up right behind me. Beep, 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 beep. That is the Caribbean way of saying move up. I'm saying to myself, the traffic cone is in front of me. This is where I'm supposed to be. So I continued to try to gather my son's lunch bag, his backpack, hand him his mask, and so on. I'm getting ready to take my son outside. Beep, 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 beep. Then I hear someone shouting, move up, move up. I'm like, okay. I continue to get myself together because I have to go to work, right? This is not what we're gonna do today. And so as I was gathering things, there were some men that were passing down at the side of my vehicle approaching the one behind me. And so they were telling the gentleman, she can't move up. There are traffic cones there, so there's no more space. Oh, all she has to do is drive up. All she has to do is drive up. You know what? I think I'm going to add some Caribbean dialect into it. I will put the translation up because I need us to understand the full context and the effects of what was happening. All she have to do is drive up. All she have to do is drive up. So I'm like, okay, no, devil, not today. Not today, Satan. Because for me, generally, when I try to approach life, my response is usually colored by the fact that I am a disciple of Jesus Christ. I try to represent him in how I approach life. And I said to myself, no, I'm not going to engage this today. So I got my son out of the vehicle. I took him to the gates where the daycare worker normally stands to check temperature and sanitize and so on. I was dropping him off and handing him his bag and so on. Meanwhile, this gentleman pulls up from behind me, pulls in front of me, and parks right alongside of the cone. So he's kind of out in the road because the cones are there, but he's parked right alongside the cones in front of me. He proceeds to come out of his car. I only saw him from my peripheral vision because I did not look in his direction. I saw him in my, my side view, and he is taking out his son, putting him at the side of the sidewalk. And while he is doing this, he continues to lambaste me. This man continues to abuse me. The man tell me about my face. The man tell me how I buy my license. The man tell me how I can't drive. The man tell me how my face tap. He tell me how I chop it. When I say he behaved badly, I mean he was behaving badly. But to this day, and it's been a couple of weeks since this incident, to this day, I cannot tell you how this man really looked. I cannot tell you anything specific about him because I did not once look in his direction. So I'm sure that persons, because there were other persons, this is a high traffic time, people are dropping off their kids before going to work. I am quite certain that persons were looking around trying to figure out who this man was talking to. Who was he cursing so? Because nobody seems to be engaging him, nobody seems to be looking in his direction. And as far as I was concerned, he was not speaking to me. I was not going to engage him because this was not a situation where you were trying to have a conversation, where you're trying to explain anything. At first, I thought he was unaware. He was ignorant of the fact that there were cones there. But after other persons told him that there were, I realized, this is a different type of ignorance. Okay, so no, conversation is not something that is warranted in this particular situation. I dropped off my child. I told him I loved him. And I went back into my vehicle, turned around, and went back down the hill on my way to work. Would you believe that as I was turning around, this man was still cursing me? As I was driving down the hill away from this place, the man's voice followed me. He was still cursing me out. Now tell me that is not the textbook definition of ignorant. Now I say all this to say, it's not that I have never engaged persons who display ignorance. It's not that I have never gotten down to that level with someone, because we're all flesh and blood, okay? We're all human, we all have emotions. Sometimes our temper is triggered depending on what kind of day we are having. But more and more as I mature, as I become older, as I become settled in my relationship with Christ, and I really genuinely want to represent him well, I find that I have to be very wise in terms of how I engage others. And what I've learned over years is that persons who are genuinely ignorant, I'm talking about all aspects, the ones who are not only not aware, but not interested in knowing what the real information is. They're not interested in a respectful and mature dialogue. They're not interested in having a conversation and exchanging ideas. No, they're not interested in any of that. What I have found by experience is by engaging persons who are ignorant, that it becomes a back and forth exchange. There is no willingness to understand. It becomes an argument, and it spirals out of control with absolutely no purpose. There's no good that is accomplished. There's nothing to be gained. And so it is absolutely pointless, and it just ruins your mood. It just ruins your day. And sometimes it encourages you to step out of who you truly are and to give over to your baser nature and become something that you are not. And so for me, as time has passed by, I have determined within myself that as much as possible, I refuse to engage persons who are ignorant, and I encourage you not to either. Now, there's a difference between somebody who is unaware of some things and maybe they acted foolishly because they were unaware, but once they find out, once they realize that they've made a mistake, or they weren't aware of certain information, they're willing to acknowledge, okay, you know what, maybe I overreacted, or maybe I didn't react accordingly because I wasn't aware that this was the case, my bad. And so that is a completely different ball game. And so if you want peace of mind, if you want tranquility, if you want to just maintain your joy and happiness in life, I would really encourage you to consider how you engage others and who you engage at all, because for ignorant people, it's a no. Do any of you have any experiences where you've engaged someone who is ignorant and it just spiraled out of control, or it actually made a difference? Do you have stories? Do you have encounters? Do you know what I'm talking about? Leave your comments below. I want to hear from you. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you on the next leg of the journey.